Many of us have high expectations of our loved ones. We tend to want a lot from others, especially when we feel as though we show up often for them. The reality is that sometimes we don't truly get what we need from our friendships. Meanwhile, at other times, we expect things from loved ones that are simply unreasonable. We never check in to see if our expectations are justified. Because our relationships are so tricky in this way, it can be useful to take some time to check in on your relationships. But what should you be looking for? My advice is to look for just 50%. In my relationships and friendships, I loosely follow the 50-50 rule. Is my friend putting in 50% of the effort? Am I putting in 50% of the effort? Is there an equal exchange going on? Am I receiving enough benefit from this friendship to make the time, effort, and energy that I put into sustaining it worth it? The 50-50 rule shows me, in plain language, when I'm doing more than my friend, as well as when I'm not doing my part. And to be honest, that happens often. It's not that I don't care or that they like me more. Sometimes, life just gets in the way. And because I know this about myself and my life, I try hard to give my friends, who maybe aren't giving me all of their 50%, some grace. It's not personal. It's just that life comes first often. Percy followed my gaze and did not try, at all, to keep a straight face. There were those dimples again. No fancy boarding schools or private schools for us. I went to the local public schools with everybody else. So you and Paul are still friendly. I asked Carrie a few months ago to keep an eye out for any openings I might be a good fit for, and... Are you a good fit, though? I heard you're a teacher. Apparently all those lessons in humility hadn't taught Percy not to interrupt people. I'll have you know I'm extremely well organized and proficient with all the tech you use. I interviewed with your father and your mother and Snick, and they were all perfectly satisfied with my qualifications. Percy snorted. I'll bet he was. I beg your pardon? It's just, I really should have insisted on interviewing you myself. Percy rubbed the back of his neck with one hand and waved at me with the other, all the while looking supremely annoyed. You're very pretty. What? I was honestly speechless. Maybe because I was devoting so much energy to resisting touching my hair. Like many women, I had my share of insecurities. I did not think of myself as very pretty. Jen peeked up at the black void, punctuated by faraway stars and planets, anchored to the jagged slope of a small mountain. She looked back down at the supports that kept her from falling, then at the pair of devices she controlled by thinking of her hands. Her human body was lying on a surgical table in a laboratory, coaxed into a state of deep relaxation by a mixture of drugs calibrated and monitored by technicians who worked in shifts by her side. A port on the back of her skull was connected to a thick white cable. Her best guess was that she had been awake and working for more than 24 hours. The drugs both stimulated her and promoted her emotional equanimity. It was difficult to keep track of real-world thoughts when she was operating RAMP. Robotic Adapted Mining Process. The machine her mind was being beamed into at the speed of light. Operators like Jen were the ones who had named the machine and the process. The higher levels of the Provisional Authority simply referred to it as the Outworld Mission, a subsection of Project Chrysalis. She tipped her head back and met his gaze. Have I mentioned how glad I am that you're safe? No. I am. And have I mentioned how glad I am to have met you? Joe blinked. No. I am. Her fingers interlaced at the back of his neck. Joe winced. Oh, sorry. Be careful with me, he said with a tired smile. I will be. From beneath heavy eyelids, she regarded him with frank scrutiny. "And I believe you, Joe, about your sister and what you did to that man. I wanted to get the words right for you. I was angry after Dixon, but unless you feel the utmost need to talk, darling, I don't want to hear any more about it right now." He went still, but his blood was sparking and racing. He hadn't been this close to a woman in years. Whoever that woman was, she hadn't been Lulu. Lulu was magnificent. Her lips twitched. "Well, I have the day off," he said thickly, "in honor of my service to the people of Leicester." "Is that what they said?" "Just about. They're right, Joe. You did an amazing thing tonight. I'm terribly proud of you." "As much as I enjoy hearing that, I didn't do it for you or for a day off." "I know." She tugged him into her room. "But it's a lucky thing, because I have the day off, too."